Morning, everyone. My question for you today is, do you know where you're headed? Sometimes we have a lot of different plans. We spend a lot of time making plans for the future and worrying about them. And our verse for today is Psalm 37, 23 and 24, verses 23 and 24. The steps of a man are established by the Lord when he delights in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be cast headlong, for the Lord upholds his hand. So when we follow the plans he has for us, we don't need to worry. He's got the plan. He's in control of the situation. And even what seems not good to us can be used for our ultimate good in the end. So, food for thought for today. Are you operating on God's plans or your plans? And you know the difference. And can you tell that you're not on his plan or at the moment maybe, or something you're thinking about doing might not be. So just some food for thought. One of the ways that can tend to look like is that the Lord will open doors for going in a particular direction, or close doors. And say, okay, you're not, it's like if you keep hitting against a wall, there's probably a reason and you have to step back and relook at things. So today's recipe is pesto scrambled eggs. And my version of pesto is actually parsley with maybe a hint of sweet basil. Straight sweet basil pesto is a little strong for my system. And it does also tends to have too much garlic in it. And so I make my own, but we will get to that in a moment. I've got skillet, cast iron skillet back there with some avocado oil in it. And it's working on heating up. And breaking 2 organic free-range eggs in a bowl. Getting the egg up in my hand here. Don't really want to see how much raw egg I get on everything else I'm handling here. Okay, and then I'm going to use the egg beater to blend this up, but I'm going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of coconut milk in, which I'm actually going to just approximate rather than getting a utensil dirty. And so you start with beating the eggs, the coconut milk, and adding some spices. I'm using about 1/8 of a teaspoon of Celtic Sea Salt. And get 1/4 of a teaspoon of tarragon. Good tarragon that's halfway fresh is amazing stuff. It gives you a licorice anise taste. And lots of times, a lot of that gets lost, if it's been sitting, on a shelf in a grocery store for years. So anyway, so we've got spices in here. I'm actually going to use the pesto as a topping, thereby not heating it up, so you can get the benefits of the raw. I'm not cooking it. It'll get a little warm being on the eggs. So I'm beating up the eggs, pouring it in here. And that's starting to cook. Getting the egg rinsed off my bowl right away. Okay, and I do not recommend using a non-stick pan to do this because you will get all sorts of things leaked out of the coating of the pan. That's why I'm using a cast iron skillet instead. And as I previously mentioned, I'm not concerned about getting a little extra iron. Since I tend to be iron deficient, that's not a concern for me as far as using cast iron occasionally. I mostly use it as a skillet, which, I mean, the food isn't in there indefinitely. And I'm making a little pesto here, adding a little bit of avocado oil. The advantage of using avocado oil when you're making scrambled eggs is you don't get it burning. It doesn't really brown. It stays light colored on your eggs. Okay, and then I'm actually going to just put in a little bit of basil to give a hint of the basil-y taste. I'm using actually several sprigs of parsley as the main ingredient in the pesto. You can also use arugula instead of using 100% basil. You can also adjust it depending on your preferences as far as how much basil you have in it compared to the rest of the other herbs. And of course, my blender doesn't want to work right, so. So I'll have to blend that up in my blender instead. Now I blend up my eggs really well done.